Namaste. Hello everyone. Welcome to Shal Gulhati, Shiva and Mysticism for another episode of Monday with Mahadev. Today I'm going to talk to you about the various ways of learning. Usually we think that learning is learning, you know, like we learn history, geography, mathematics, English, grammar, literature. So that is learning. Like we learn the alphabet when we are young, A, B, C, K, K, G, Aleph, B, Te. We learn mathematics, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus, minus, subtract, divide, multiply. And this we call learning because we as human beings are privileged over the animals because we have certain functions in our body which can allow us to make speech. Uh, just the tongue is not enough for making speech. We have a part of our brain which articulates things for us, and therefore we can talk. We have languages, we have scripts, and therefore we are advantaged as compared to other animals. We can communicate our ideas through scripts and talk and speech. And therefore, for all this, when our children are born and when they grow up to be about 3 years old, we put them in kindergarten or play school where they are taught our language and our mathematics. So, usually, we think that this is learning, and it is learning. So, the first method of learning is learning the math, learning the alphabet, learning the speech, learning pictures, colors, and things like that, which I'm sure many of you who are parents would be doing with your children, or as in my case with our grandchildren. We know what learning through direct learning is. But then there is a higher kind of learning, which is unlearning. We come to a stage where we have already known a language or two languages or three languages. We know our math, we know our colors, and we know the norm of society, we know the systems, how the world works. And then there are certain circumstances where we meet, especially a philosopher or a sage, and he tells you to unlearn whatever you have learned. This is very interesting. Actually, what he's telling you is that now your computer, your body computer, is full of all sorts of programs, and you need to discard them for a while in order to be able to learn something. You have to unlearn. And then, when we unlearn the normal logic, the normal deducements, the normal math, the normal speech, then we make space to learn again, and that is called relearning. And in this relearning, we learn what is beyond logic, sometimes beyond rational. We learn through intuition. We learn about something which is on a higher frequency than all the language and the math that we knew earlier. To make this clearer to you, I will share with you a little story from Swami Vivekananda's life. When he was in the ashram of Paramhans Ramakrishna, he was always not so interested in whatever the normal discourse was going on. He always had his own thoughts, and he was many times in disagreement with the popular spiritual notion or whatever bhashya that the guru was giving or reading out. And when this happened many times, and the other children, the Guru Bhais, saw that Ramakrishna Paramhans would never really scold Vivekanand, they asked, why is it that you never tell Naren anything, when he's never learning? And then Sri Ramakrishna told them a story. He gave them an example. He said, when we have a seed for a tree and we plant it, we usually make a fence around it, a grill around it, because when the seed will sprout and it will become a young sapling, there is every danger that a cow or a goat or some animal which feeds on plants will come and eat it up. Therefore, we have this fence around it. But as the seedling, the sapling grows stronger and bigger and gets even a trunk like a tree, we remove the fence because that fence is no longer required. It is now useless, and it may even, in an extreme case, hinder the growth, the further growth of that sapling, which is now a tree. In the case of Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna, his guru, had already seen that Vivekananda had done his learning. He was very eloquent. He spoke very well in all the languages that he knew. He knew of geography, he knew of history, he knew his math, he had a lot of general knowledge, and yes, he knew his religion and his spirituality very well. So he had his learning, and then because of his personal circumstances, he belonged to a very affluent family at one time, which went bankrupt, and he had to see a lot of impoverishment. So he saw a lot of change in what happens in life. Because of a particular thing, another thing happens. You lose your money, or your father loses his money, or your grandfather loses his money, and your life changes drastically. So that was a period of, in a way, disillusionment for Swami Vivekananda. But here we can think that he had done his unlearning. He had realized what is the limit of the learning of the systems of the world, of the math and everything that he knew. Therefore, he was absolutely ready to relearn. He was absolutely ready to find that higher frequency and relearn of everything. Interestingly, when we do this so-called relearning of intuition, we do not then have to anymore discard our earlier learning. It can come back. So when we are intuitive, when we have put our frequency onto the higher frequency, we can come back to this world where we enjoy the same speech, the math, the colors, the music, and everything once more. So I hope you liked this video. Join me again next Monday, and I will be back with another Shiva wisdom for you. Om Namah Shivaya.